Alright, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. The name of the video is Feminism Changed Everything. The birth rate crisis no one is talking about. I think we need to talk about it. Okay? Because it absolutely, we are entering into one that's absolutely wild, and I think we're already in it, guys. It's just going to get worse. But let's go and see where this video takes us. Let's check it out.
Having children, I mean, this is how civilizations die.
Let's go into it. How is it going to affect us?
So
This
I mean,
isn't something I've talked about.
yeah. So one, it's the economic situation is going to get very bad. When you think of, the boomers are the largest, I think, generational cohort. They're living longer than they ever have. They're healthier, but they're getting to ages, right? Like, who takes care of boomers when they're in their 80s and 90s? They're in nursing homes. You need service workers. You need people to be able to take care of these aging people, right? It used to be that you were taken care of in the family. We don't do that anymore. Now we have nursing homes, right? Like, it's very rare that someone moves in when they're at a certain age with their children and are taken care of. Okay. So those jobs, which used to be filled by service workers, there's no one who's going to be able to fill that. On every economic dimension, if you do not have a generation of workers, of people paying into the system, Social Security, I mean, Social Security is a huge issue, but if you don't have people paying into the system, doing the labor, being able to do the things for the elder generation, society starts crumbling. And then there's, of course, the social ramifications of not having families. I'm a firm believer that the most important institution in America is the family. The family used to exist to take care of the people who were weakest, right? Like, it's like, you used to have these big families, and, sometimes the weakest child would still be living with mom and dad at home, and that was okay. You sort of had empathy for them, but it was the family's responsibility to take care of these people. We quickly moved that to now it's the state's responsibility to take care of these people who may be sick in some way, maybe unable to provide for themselves in some way, might have psychological issues. Now the state has to take care of them, which is why you see a lot of these people on the street now, because the state does a terrible job of taking care of these people. But as fewer and fewer children exist, it's like you're not going to have a society that can provide for itself, that can continue into perpetuity. And the exponential decline of this too, where it's like, it sounds, oh, well, we went from 2.1 to 1.6. That can't be that bad. I mean, in a couple generations, that means that our population has shrunk by half.
Right, it's that
in a couple of generations.
And the best example of this, and I wish I had the numbers in front of me, is South Korea. So South Korea, I think their birth rate is the lowest of any country, any industrialized country. I think it's 0.9. And when you have fewer and fewer people, no one's doing the jobs. Japan is also heading this way. Their birth rate's quite low. The only sort of argument that people make as sort of the bright side of this that could potentially make up for both the labor loss and also just the civilizational collapse is robotics. Right, like you could have robots do a lot of these jobs,
AI.
But I think it is a very dangerous thing to say we're going to depend on automation and robotics to make up for the fact that humans are disappearing.
I mean, even China's dealing with this. They had the one-child birth policy, and then they boarded all of the girls. Yep. So now they just have
extremely short-sighted. I think the bulk. We're always talking about how dangerous China is, how China is growing in power and importance. The most short-sighted thing they have ever done to their society that will eventually catch up with them is the demographic collapse that they are going to feel because of one child. Like they're trying everything now too. They're trying to end divorce, right? Like, so there's now a policy, at least that I read about in China, where you have to have like a 90-day cool down period so that you don't divorce. They're trying to encourage young women to have children. Young women don't want to have children.
They're bringing in women
from
other countries, from what I understand.
Yeah,
guys, what's happening is it's almost crazy here. It seems like everything else that we had up until about 1970 was correct. I mean, we could fight against all of this stuff. I mean, let's just be real here. The genie is kind of already out of the bottle, and we, under no circumstance, can go back, and we cannot go back because it'll just hurt feelings, right? But the reality of the scenario is that, guys, the human race is absolutely going to continue to decrease, unfortunately, due to something that we, allowed to happen, let's say, in the 70s. I have no problem with women succeeding and doing all these things and living your best lives. Do all of your things, please, okay? But just understand that there's always a cause and effect to every single thing that is given, let's say, right? because now look at the scenario that we are in, right? We see like the weakest generation, the lowest testosterone level of like men that existed on Earth is right now, right? And a lot of this is due to the fact that, men can no longer really have the ability to be men any longer, right? Anything that is deemed as masculinity is deemed as basically toxic or some type of poison to society. All of these young boys are basically, diagnosed with this alleged, ADHD because they have no real ability to sit down for the same rate that, people that have estrogen have, let's say. That we have some issues here in society. Instead of what we did, we needed to basically make a way so we didn't get to the point where we started overcorrecting and negatively affecting our society. It's absolutely disgusting.
They're sending them out to go find wives in the Philippines,
Absolutely.
Thailand,
Yeah.
Japan, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they recognize it's a massive problem.
Yeah, I
And
married a
they probably
woman
recognized
from
it
outside of the United States.
before even we did. I think in some ways the conversation sort of hopped from the social conservative sort of, church going movement of, gosh, like this is a huge problem, to sort of I would say the sort of techno optimist Elon Musk talking about the birth rate as a big deal. It's now become sort of, I think, an issue that's okay for polite society and sort of liberal, New York Times to be talking about. Like, this is actually a real issue.
They're not going to do anything about it.
First step is acknowledging it, but it is, 1.6 is a long way to come back from, especially with a millennial generation that, waited way too long to have children. I think
Blame that on
there's a couple
society.
underlying factors that I don't think we talk enough about that have caused this. Is when you look at sort of our parents' generation, a lot of people didn't go to college. They started adulthood at 18.
Right.
And sort of the sort of, fertile window, you could say, for women was between 18 and 40, say. Like, that was sort of the nominal window of when you could have children and it was socially acceptable. And then we had this incredible push against fertility and against, having a family young that I think the millennials really caught wind of. It's like everyone needs to go to college. Extended adolescence, like, use your 20s to experiment and enjoy life. Like, you don't really need to be focused on having a family. And what happened is the average age now of a first-time, I think, mother in America is 28.
Jeez.
So 10 years after that, 18. So you've cut the window in half. The average age of a first-time father in America, I think, is 31. And that's
Okay.
for both college educated and not college educated.
Okay.
If you add on college on that, which I think is a real issue, it's even higher. It's like the average age of a first-time mother is 30. So you can understand how the birth rate's being cut in half if the entire window of when you can have children is cut in half, because people are so focused on career and, finding themselves and sort of their
Bunch of nonsense that has nothing to do with anything at all. It's all selfish. It's all me. I get it. I'm an individual. I don't have to worry at all about the society at all at large, let's say. Don't worry about that. The other group of people are going to go, die in, wars and all types of things like that for the country, while we tell them that they have done nothing for society and that they are worthless. I get that. I get the whole the messaging. It makes all the sense in the world. It's really attractive and appealing.
extended adolescence rather than focusing on building a family earlier. You're just going to have fewer children. And then when you have fewer marriages, that also cuts it. So it's fewer people getting married, fewer people are going to decide to have children, which from a millennial perspective, to have 58% of people only having kids, I mean, that's compared to, what 89% of our parents' generation had children.
Wow. Do you know if the baby boomer generation are they still the biggest?
I believe they're still the biggest, yeah.
So this has always been a question about that I've had is just, what it's just real estate, but I mean, you see all these 55 plus communities being built. I mean, you live in Florida. I came from Florida.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the Villages is like, about the Villages.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
what is going to happen to all these 55 plus communities when that massive generation dies off?
Yeah.
I mean, are we just going to have? It's going to create a housing crisis.
Yeah. I think it'll be a housing crisis, fewer people, and also like are millennials going to want to, the millennials and Gen X, or Gen X is actually a pretty small generation. Are they going to want to move into those places? Definitely not.
No.
In some ways, the bigger question I think is also, and I know you've had people on who have talked about longevity. People are living a lot longer too, which means they're going to have to work a lot longer, which means they have to be healthier for a lot longer. And so, if you have people living a lot longer and fewer people who are being born, it's just, it's society inverts on itself. You have a very top-heavy society of people who are older who can't do the work that needs to be done to actually protect a country.
Has any nation reversed this?
You know,
How can you socially
like I haven't
put
seen
the genie
anything
in the
recently
bottle?
successfully. There have been some attempts, like some people have pointed to countries like Hungary that are now paying. I think there's a policy in Hungary where if you have more than 4 children, you don't have to pay taxes. There's some extreme
Yeah, but then you still have to live in Hungary.
policies where you've seen that. The one place, so the one anomaly in the Western world or in the industrialized world where they are well above birth rate replacement is Israel. And so there's questions about, is it because it's a religious society? They have a pretty large religious Orthodox community, right? That kind of makes up for the rest of the secular society that doesn't have children. If you have a family of 8 and 9 and 10, that's 10% of your population. Then you can make up for some who are not having any. But we don't have that in America. We don't have as many, I would say we have more than Europe, which Europe is really the
They're
continent.
really on the decline, though.
Really on the decline.
I mean, the Islamic population is reproducing.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Yes, but even counting,
So what it seems like is culture is the problem. Aren't you starting to grasp this here? Like whenever you realize that some of these third world countries that never allowed, similar things that happened within the 70s in this country, let's say, into their country, let it seep into their country, they are still absolutely being productive, right? So we're basically going to go extinct for the sole purpose of like half the population's feelings, let's say in the context here. We're going to go extinct due to it. That's basically what we're encountering here, versus the other countries who we have, I guess, globally deemed as less than us for the most part, right? These countries are going to start taking us over. The reality of the scenario is that, like, I've heard people talk about the replacement theory, but bro, this has nothing to do with a replacement of anything. It's things that were pushed and created and backed up and basically, I don't want to say weaponized, but like backed up by a group of people who have the ability to enact some of the things that are happening, let's say, because definitely for sure, if the group of people who are basically benefiting from what has been going on since the 70s almost exclusively, if this group of people decided one day, my words need to be very clear here, guys, so I don't want to get clipped, all right? I need everyone to kind of understand what I'm trying to say here. If this group of people did not have the other group of people, let's say, protecting and mandating, then they would not be able to do this consistently, right? And this is something that we need to sit down and have like a serious conversation about how far things have gone, right? I don't think anyone is going to sit down here and have a conversation about how, don't get me wrong here. There are some people who absolutely are going to sit down and have a conversation about how they want to strip rights from people. That's crazy, right? We definitely do not need to strip any type of rights, bro. That's not a thing. But we need to sit down and have a real serious conversation about the future of this country, because it seems like, by coddling and appeasing and trying to make as much money off of a group of people, let's say, because that's really what it is, guys. I mean, everything comes down to making money. Let's just say this here. If it was no longer financially viable, let's say, to support a specific cause, then this cause would not be pushed any longer, let's say. All right, that's my opinion here, but let's see where this goes.
Immigrant and Islamic population in Europe, they're still at, countries, I think Italy's 1.2, I think France is 1.5. Everyone always looks at the Nordic nations as sort of the beacon of how we should be doing policy in the U.S. because they pay for free healthcare for mothers. They pay for free IVF, different things that people say we should experiment with. Their population decline is worse than ours. They're at 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. And so I think what's fascinating to me about this is that this isn't a country-specific problem or a cultural-specific problem. It's really all industrialized nations. And, there's probably healthcare reasons for it. There's a lot of research about...
I think men are 70% less, have a fertility rate of like 70% less than it was roughly about 100 years ago.
Yeah. Sperm counts are down. The sort of fertile window for women again cut in half. So there's something about the medical side of this and the health side of this that's also happening, but you can't ignore the memes and sort of the cultural destruction that happened since the 1970s,
cultural.
in my opinion, which is
Oh,
family
the 70s.
bad,
Wait a second.
individual good, right?
Hold
like
on.
you shouldn't have to sacrifice yourself for the needs of your family. And the minute that people across the Western world started believing in sort of this like individualism,
That's
that's
right
where
here.
you see just the family completely destroyed.
Yeah, it's shattered.
And just fewer and fewer families means fewer and fewer children. And we're finally waking up to the consequences of that, which is
No,
a
we're not.
society that can't, grow its GDP. I mean, the economist version of this is it's a society that can't grow its GDP and that can't remain successful. But I think the human part of this is it's a dying society. It's a frail
Oh yeah.
society.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we fix it? I mean,
We can't.
I mean, I
can't.
think you have to change the culture. I
not
think
gonna
you
happen.
cannot change a spiritual and a cultural problem with economic policies.
Bro, look at TikTok. Listen how they talk about men, bro. Just look at TikTok. Just search, I don't know, man bad.
So the sort of easy answers that a lot of economists and sort of people who study this say is, okay, well, we need to make healthcare free, make birth free, make women feel more, feel that they have more benefits, maybe pay women to do work, right? Like pay them to stay at home. And, some of those ideas, like, I could say our healthcare system is expensive. It is expensive to have a baby in America. So making that cheaper on the margins, might affect a mother who says, okay, I have 2 children, maybe I want to have a third. But I actually think the bigger problem is cultural and spiritual.
I think it's the culture too. I mean, I think it stemmed from, the feminist movement.
Yeah.
Where it was get out, get a job, provide for yourself, you can do everything, which, yes.
Right.
But it detoured women from having children.
Yeah.
And then women that do have children, I mean, it's almost like, me and my wife talk about this all the time. If you say you're a stay-at-home mom, it's like it's frowned upon in a lot of areas in the country, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking? Like frowning upon on a stay-at-home mom. I mean, what's more important than raising your kids?
Yeah.
Being a boss.
And then I don't even know how single mothers do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the hardest job in the world.
What?
You have to make it okay, and you have to take care of the single moms out there.
Totally.
It's scary.
Totally.
Yeah, but the problem is by you doing that, there's going to be a gigantic amount of people who are going to take advantage of the help that you're offering, and then utilize that to basically destroy the family, the nuclear family that they've been told was terrible by their aunt, by their Gen X aunt, for example. I hear what you're saying, bro. But let's not specifically toe the line in its context here. We have issues with the society, and a lot of it stems from the amount of government assistance. I mean, she even said earlier that the government has a terrible, way of handling the elderly. Now you want to consistently promote helping specifically the single mothers who basically left because you gave them an out, because the government will take care of them and now they can go have another baby with somebody else. That's what it looks like, at least from afar. I'm not in this situation, obviously. I married my wife in 2015. We've been together for 10 years. She is not from the United States of America. She is basically a staunch anti-feminist, and very traditional in every single means here, guys, right? This is not my situation. I'm just listening to this and being enraged here.
And I think about it. It's
I feel for my son.
It's terrifying. I don't know how they make ends meet, but yeah, I think the culture change is paramount.
It's toxic.
It's
toxic.
A lot of the research, it's always fascinating to me, the things you can't talk about. We can talk about the problem, but there's certain things we can't talk about that add to it. And you'll see, economics is always a thing people want to talk about because it's like, oh, well, if we could just fix it with an economic policy. But no one ever talks about what you said, which is that feminism did change the memes and the culture. But at the same time, no one talks about when you introduce birth control into a society and tell women, you can control your own destiny. That is a huge part of it. Like all of these declines in the industrial world started at the exact same time that the pill was introduced. So, we're not going to go back to a world that is pre-pill. Like that's just never going to happen across, both Western society and the industrial world. But I think you actually have to acknowledge all of the factors. And
we can't acknowledge the factors. And I'm almost offended that you're even pointing out the truth here. That hurts my feelings.
both Western society and the industrial world. But I think you you actually have to acknowledge all of the factors. And the fact that a lot of the people doing this research won't even acknowledge, oh, something magical changed in the 60s and the 70s,
something magical
related to healthcare, related to how we, abortion was made legal in 1973. Other nations followed. When you look at those as inputs into the story as well, it's like there's a reason why the birth rate is so low in these countries.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan show from.
Jeez. All right, so guys, I have never seen this in my life. I definitely appreciate you guys sending me this conversation. This is a rough one here, right? I've always looked at the numbers and I was just like, bro, what happened during that time? Because it was like, hold on, a gigantic amount of people were basically dumped onto the work market. Then also look at the increase in wages also at the same time. Supply and demand basically dictates, right? If you dump half the population onto the workforce, you're no longer going to be able to make anything off of one salary now because everything's going to get more expensive. The houses, now you have double the population, double the people, let's say, how do I say this here? Double the people attempting to buy the same basic thing, right? Now we need 2 cars. Now we need 2 houses for one person. You get what I'm saying here? The woman wants a house, the man wants a house, and now everyone is competing. Okay, she wants to work at this job, work at the job, but now I don't have to pay you anymore because I can get her to do it, right? So now you don't have to start getting pay increases over time because there are too many people on the workforce here. Like they're looking. Ooh, this is a rough one here. And it's interesting, who benefits from this? Who seriously, follow the money. Who benefited the most from doubling the entirety of the workforce tax base? Right? Who benefited from that? All right? Just understand, there's always a game behind a game and behind a game, and it just feels all ridiculous to me. Right? I definitely do feel bad, right? I mean, we're in a society that for the most part demonizes men to the point where now men are absolutely neutered by every single means, it seems, right? There are some men who are just miserable, right? Look at the rates of people basically, ending their own existence, let's say, right? Look at what's going on here. We have a problem by attempting to prop up one specific group while not fixing all the things in the court system that is absolutely against men. It doesn't make any sense. It just seems like you want a group that has all of the rights, for example, as an American man that doesn't have to, that under no circumstance that doesn't have to really risk their life for that right. If that makes any sense here. I'm not sure that they can get drafted. I've never looked into this, but I'm almost positive that's not the case here. They can't get drafted, guys. Right? So it's rough. But we can't go back. The genie is already out of the bottle, if that makes any sense here. For better or for worse, just understand that I have no idea how long the United States of America is going to exist exclusively due to it. What's going to end up happening is the cultures that absolutely never adhere to any of this are going to start, mass populating, let's say, all right, and down to the last American, that's pushing the ideology of progressivism and the West, let's say, right? Down to the last of them. None of it is really beneficial to the birth rate. None of it. None of the things that I hear the Democrat Party specifically push are really beneficial to the birth rate. It just seems to everything they want is against it. It's against it. I'm trying to name guys, what is beneficial? I hear it. Any California, ideologies that they push specifically, again, has nothing to really do with the birth rate, bro, right? Everything is against it. None of what they want is going to help us have more babies. None of it, right? And the same thing with the Democrat Party, guys. You can't be surprised that so many men have decided to leave that party if all you're consistently pushing is the things that are, not allowing men to even have babies, have families, because you demonize the families. And, you made it too hard for them to actually be able to take care of their family. Okay, listen, men are not going to college at the same rate women are. Women tend to kind of only want men on an education level that they are or above, right? And if men are not going to college as much anymore, what's happening? So you understand what's happening here? We have a problem in the United States of America, and we need to fix it. I have no idea how to fix it, and that's why I left the country to find a wife. That's it. That's why. I smelled it. I smelled it 10 years ago, bro. I was like, this is not for me. Nah. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.